Hey there, fourth graders. So today we're going to focus on strategies that we can use to add mixed numbers. But before we get into that, I want us to take a look at a mixed number. Right here we have the number 3 and 5/8. Remember, that's how we read it. We say the whole number, the word and then the fraction, 3 and 5/8. Okay, let's think carefully about what this represents. If you remember, a whole, one whole, has the same numerator and denominator. So in this case, everything we're talking about has a denominator of an 8. So this 3 is the same thing as 8/8 plus 8/8 plus 8/8, and then we would be adding this plus 5/8. This right here represents this, okay? If we were to draw it into a picture, we would have 3 whole fraction models drawn in. All right. So let me just draw this out really quickly. And then we would have to draw one more fraction model for our 5/8. And if we were shading this in, I'm going to use a different color today just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see everything, right? We have 3 whole fraction models shaded in. And then on this fraction model, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces shaded in, okay? So here's the thing. We are representing a whole and part of a whole. There's another type of way that we could write this fraction where we are representing it. It's called an improper fraction, or a fraction greater than 1. So basically what we're doing is we're writing just a fraction without the whole number. The way to figure out what that improper fraction would be is to take this whole number and break it up into its parts, and then this. So we would basically just be adding all of this together. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 5, right? And then we would have the 8 on the bottom. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 8 is 24. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So we would have 29/8. The 3 and 5/8 is equal to 29/8, okay? These two fractions represent the same amount, and sometimes it's easier to change a mixed number into its fraction greater than 1 or improper fraction to work with it. But it's not always. I'm just showing you this just so that you know how to do it. There's another strategy that you can use to change this into this mixed number into an improper fraction. I'm just going to explain it really quickly. It goes over this in your video too, but right here you can use your pick fraction models, you can use your addition sentence, or if you take the denominator 8 times the whole number 3, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 5 more is 29. Look at what we did right here. 8, 8, 8. That's repeated addition. That's the same thing as 8 times 3. Okay? So because we have the repeated addition here, that's the same thing as 8 times 3, right? Which is what I was just saying. And then we just add the 5 more. All right? So again, it's just a strategy you can use. You can use this strategy. You can use this strategy. Or, to be completely honest, you can keep your mixed number as a mixed number, and I'm going to show you how to work with it as a mixed number when we're doing some addition. So let's look at some addition, okay? Now let's say I have this 3 and 5/8, and I want to add 2 and 4/8, okay? And I'm stacking them up like this now. Well, I'm going to do the same thing I always do with addition. I'm going to start with the lowest place value and work my way up. Right here we have 5/8 plus 4/8. Okay, 5 plus 4 is 9. My denominator stays the same. 3 plus 2 is 5. All right, now I want to know, am I done? Well, I've added everything, right? I did 5/8 plus 4/8 and got 9/8. And then I did 3 plus 2 and got 5. But I have to do some regrouping. Why? Because 9/8 is a fraction bigger than 1. So when you add, if you get a fraction bigger than 1, you have to do regrouping. And basically what you're doing is you're going to take one whole away from here and add it over here. Just like you regroup with base 10 blocks, right? If you can't have 10 ones. You have to regroup and add the 1 over into the tens column. This is, we have more than one whole, so we have to pull the whole out and put it over here. Well, what does the whole equal? It's 8/8, right? The whole is 8/8 because my denominator is 8. So I'm going to remove 8/8 here, and that leaves me with 1/8. And I'm going to add the whole here, so then we're left with 6 and 1/8. Again, if you get this and you're like, ooh, I don't know what to do now, you could draw a picture to represent it, right? You can do your 5 wholes. Okay. 4, 5. All right, so I have my 5 wholes, and then I'm going to slide my paper over so you guys can see, and then I need to add in my 9/8. Okay, so if I'm shading all of this in, sorry, I forgot to do that part. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm shading my 9/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, need to draw another one. And then I shade in 9. There's my 9/8. So you guys can see, look, when I drew it, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1/8. So you just have to pay attention is really what you need to do. It's not that it's hard, you just have to pay attention when you're adding those fractions to make sure that you see when it is showing up as a mixed number with an improper fraction, because that doesn't exist. You can't, this is incorrect because you can't have this. You have to regroup. This is like you haven't regrouped. Okay, so that's what this means. So here's our regrouping. Again, we're taking the whole out and we're adding it to the whole number. All right, let's look at one more example of that. All right, let's say we have 2 1/2 plus 2 1/2. Let's just say we have 2 1/2 plus 2 1/2. Okay, now you may be able to regroup this one super fast, but let's just add it. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole, right? 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole. It does, but we're gonna just write it here, 2 over 2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. All right, again, I'm looking at this and I have an unregrouped fraction. I cannot have a numerator that's the same as the denominator or bigger than the denominator. So I have to pull this whole out and add it over here. Well, this right here happens to be 1 whole, right? So this is the same thing as saying 4 plus 1, which is 5. So 2 1/2 plus 2 1/2 equals 5. And you don't put any fraction or anything with that if it ends up being a whole number. All right, let's look at one more example. All right, let's see here. We have 3 4/6 plus 2 3/6. 3 4/6 plus 2 3/6. Again, we add our fractions first. 4/6 plus 3/6 equals 7/6. Now maybe you want to go ahead and regroup the fraction. You're like, oh wait, that's a fraction bigger than 1. So I'm going to take away 6/6 here. I'm left with 1/6, and I'm going to add 1. Oops, there we go. I'm going to add 1 to my whole numbers. Maybe that's an easier way to do it for you. And you can do it that way too. You can do it at the end like I showed you in the very first problem. Or if you're noticing it as you go along, regroup right away. It makes it a little bit easier on you, right? And then you have 1 plus 3 is 4, 5, 6. So we're left with 6 and 1/6. Okay? And again, if this is confusing, go back to drawing the pictures. Draw the pictures. It's not that hard to draw the pictures. That's what you did in your last lesson. It helps you to represent the fractions, and if that makes it a lot easier for your brain to process all of this, by all means, draw the pictures. All right? It doesn't take that much longer to do, and you're more likely to get the right answer if you draw the pictures versus adding and making mistakes, okay? So again, the big key is remembering that you have to have a with a mixed number, you have to have a whole number and a fraction less than 1. So that means the numerator is smaller than the denominator. When you add, if the numerator is the same as the denominator or bigger than the denominator, you have to regroup. And you have to pull the whole out of the fraction and add it to your whole number, okay? And again, remembering what these fractions are actually representing is going to be really, really helpful for you in doing that, all right? Now, I did show you at the very beginning, right here, that you can change the numbers into an improper fraction. So one strategy that you could use would be to take these mixed numbers, make them both improper fractions, add that, and then change them back to mixed numbers. But again, that's adding a lot of extra steps that you don't really need to do. Some people prefer to do it that way, and if you are one of those people who prefers to do it that way, by all means, go for it. But you're adding extra steps. You're adding the step of changing all of the fractions into improper fractions, all the mixed numbers into improper fractions, adding, and then changing them back. Okay, so again, that's up to you. If that's the strategy you want to use, go for it. But it is a strategy that's going to take a little bit longer because it does involve extra steps. And if your numbers are given to you as mixed numbers, your answers need to be given as mixed numbers. You can't give the answer as an improper fraction. So I do want you to keep that in mind as well on FSA and on your tests and everything. If the answers start out as mixed numbers, they have to end as mixed numbers. Okay, so that's just kind of something to keep in mind. All right, if you have any questions, please let us know, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.